Hello and welcome to Nollywood Film Club. I'm Mr. C, a Vertigo critic, and I hope you're doing well. Wow, yeah, we had a very fun conversation this week. I know I say that, but we do. What do you want me to say? And in this conversation, there's something that does happen that isn't just fun. Is that the director did come on to give her side to offer just a little bit of pushback, but I was very grateful for her contribution, not just because she offered pushback just like anyone else would be. Um, she just played, she just like anyone else would be able to if he joined Nollywood Film Club. But she was very respectful of everyone, and she gave credit to the concept, what NFC I believe stands for, which is everybody gets to come and have their say. You don't need any excessive background in film or anything. And yeah, so it was very nice to get vindicated in such a way. And I appreciate it. And you should appreciate us too by rating us on whatever platform you're on, if it does ratings. But thanks. Leave a comment if you can. If not, I just hope you enjoy Nollywood Film Club discussing Onye Egwu. All right, so welcome to Nollywood Film Club. We did discuss Nollywood movies every week. 6 p.m. what? On the dot. 6 p.m. usually. What? Usually. On the dot usually. But Elon decided Elon permitted. All of this is dependent on Elon. But we are here anyway. We are going to be discussing Onye Egwu. And we will be discussing what we liked in the good. We'll discuss what we don't like in the bad. If we have disagreements, we'll do it in the pushback, and we'll do a nice summary afterwards. If you want to, if you don't want to speak, but you want to comment, please feel free. Comment on any of the space, and we'll read your thoughts out. All right, Onye Egwu. Elizabeth, tell us what you liked about Onye Egwu.
Who's going to call someone else? Sorry, I'm distracted right now. Thank you.
Okay, all right.
A long time. Let's go.
No problem. Nollywood must change. Do you want to give us the things you liked about Onye Egwu? Nollywood.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're in a. Okay, you sound. Okay, there we go. That's better. All right.
Okay, so what do you like about me? I think I like this movie when it first started, like the beginning. I was like, we're going to get something good from this movie. I like the speaking of Igbo dialect, the way they were speaking. Like, I usually like people speak Igbo in movies, actually. In other local languages, I kind of like how they were speaking Igbo. I like this guy, this light-skinned guy. What's his name? I can't remember his name.
Maybe Mecca.
Yeah. I think I kind of like his performance in this movie. I think he's the one that has the best performance for me. His performance was not all over. It was not trying to, it was not forcing it. So I think I like his performance. I like the idea about this movie. I can see I think we should not say that again. I can see the intention. It's a beautiful, I think it's a beautiful, it's a good idea, someone trying to how would I say, save their career, then they realize that, sometimes you just have to let things go and, try to bring someone else on board. So I kind of like the idea. What is that like? I think that's all I like. That's all I like. Yeah.
Okay, all right, thanks. And Nollywood must change.
I just remember something. I kind of like that we didn't allow the younger footballer, the other boy, to speak Igbo because he's not Igbo. Because I was kind of, when they were doing things, unless he's going to speak Igbo, but I think they kind of played the thing. I like that. Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
needed to be said, I'm sure. I do like that Nollywood Must Change just came out and said the forbidden. I see the intention. Just not the I see the intention I went to Harvard. He just said it. So obviously he knows automatic 2 week span. Automatic. All right. Thanks. Nollywood Must Change. I think it was Alana. Alana, do you want to tell us some of the things you liked about Onye Egwu?
Yeah, so hi guys. I like a number of things about Onye Egwu actually. I think one of the things I liked, the first thing I liked was how Nigerian it was. Like, it was quite relatable, the whole the boy that is obsessed with football and just wants to do it all his life, and his mother that doesn't really understand the whole idea of the obsession and just wants something that works for him. The rival player Uduak and his mother that is actually investing in her dream through him. I liked the Nigerianness of it, even when there were certain scenes that look ridiculous, like the scene with the whole they put inside bottle scene. It was ridiculous, and I kept wondering who put this thing here, who put this thing here. And I paused. I said, "Would this actually happen in Nigeria?" Yes, I actually do see it happening. So I was like, okay, it makes sense for a Nigeria context to some extent. And I also liked I call it the white, the guy that was supposed to play, I don't know if he was Zubi's agent, the white guy. He was believable in his role. That was good casting. I also liked that even though this movie was not it was not supposed to be like a comedy, it had elements of comedy in it, like with the scene with when she disrupted the match and they were like, "Oh, who's that person?" And her husband was like, "I don't know who that person is." I actually laughed out loud at that scene. So I really liked the comedic elements to it, as well as what was that his name? William Chimba's character was not very annoying, which is another thing I like. The usually annoying characters that they are just there for comedy and they just give you this so very blatant, "Oh, I want to make you laugh" thing. I like that they used them in this movie in a way that it didn't seem like they were out of place and they were just there for, just make people laugh. Even what's his name, Brother Shaggy's character, I didn't feel annoyed by him the way I usually would in other movies. So yeah, I think those are the main things. Oh yeah, I like the advert placements, the way they use the Waka Now thing. It synced into the movie. It wasn't one of those things that just stands out like, why is it there? What am I looking at? It was, it was in agreement with the scene and in agreement with what we were doing. Even the advertisement of Bet King, the way they didn't show Bet King blatantly, but I saw Coach's face and I saw the guy. I was like, okay, this is Bet King. It was nicely placed. I liked the use of the Nigeria-Ghana World Cup qualifier game. It was a very painful memory to resurrect, but I liked how they infused it in the movie and how they used the whole, if Onye Egwu was here, and it made sense why Onye Egwu wouldn't have made it because he had the whole ACL injury and career-threatening whatever thing going on. So I liked how they used that clip in the movie. And of course, Tinamba, very beautiful. Her one scene, even though she was saying a lot of things I did not really understand, like what's the point of all this? But she looked very pretty saying it, and her outfit was, God, that woman is gorgeous. They need to cast her like in romantic something. I don't know if she could do it, but something like that. She looked very good. And what else did I like? I think those were the main things I like. Oh yeah, the infusion of language. The way Uche Jombo and Emeka Nwaborocha were just bouncing the ball off each other was very nice. And with her hints of I think it was Efik she was speaking, I believe Efik. It was also very nice. So yeah, those were the main things I liked.
All right, thank you. It's not every day we come here and people don't find Instagram comedians in Nollywood annoying. So we take it as a plus. Okay. Rotimi, do you want to give us Tell us some of the things you like about Onye Egwu. Sorry, can people hear it to me? Because we can't hear. Can other people hear him?
I can't hear you.
Okay. Rotimi, you have to go off and come back on again. Yeah. All right. Elizabeth, are you free? Okay. Elizabeth might still be tied up. Mrs. C, do you want
I'm
to?
here. As in, I don't even know if I can still talk, but let me just say, because I don't even have a lot to say, but I have just one thing to say. If they made a movie of just Eno and Shege, well, I'll watch it. Those two people running around and their foolish auntie, I will watch it. I thought they were funny. I don't know if it was intentional, but I thought at least it's both of them, they were funny together. Every time they come up on my screen, I'm expecting some stupid shenanigans from both husband and wife. What else did I like? I thought it was nice how Uche Jombo and her friends came together to make this film. I think that was what I was just noticing. Like when one person pops up, I'm like, yeah, I'm expecting to see the next person. Of course, and I saw the old gang in there. That's another thing that I really liked. Um, I don't like a lot of things, but I really love Eno and Shege. If somebody is in the writer's room, I want to do something with that. Please go ahead.
All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. All right. Now, Rotimi, do you want to try again? Let's see whether we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, good.
You that don't want Dangote's refinery to work, you came after me. No problem. So first of all, it was an okay Nollywood movie. I've not had any reason to watch or comment or talk about any movie for a while because I'm like, a lot of things I've been struggling to watch. But this was an okay Nollywood movie. It was nice to watch something. I like the idea about making the movie about football. So like that is one of those things that considering how much Nigerians love football, I was like, okay, this is one of those things that probably like we should probably do a lot more sports drama. Technically, would somebody call this a sports drama? Maybe. I think the casting kind of worked for the casting, as in, apart from the two main leads, that's the two Onyegus. Sorry if I'm butchering the name. Everybody was kind of, worked for their typical type casting. But Ashagi being himself, Mr. Macaroni playing a pastor, Nedu with her funny Calabar accent, Adedimeji giving a silly performance, Uchemba also being his normal silly self. Then Uche Jombo playing like this mother, in the where I don't even know what to call that. Was that like I won't say they were in the village, but they were in like a local area and everything. So I like that. The whole idea of like the two sets of people, like the young boy aspiring to be a footballer, then this footballer that had his career that is struggling with the fact that maybe his career might have ended with this injury. That whole, like the two parallels. One guy's career is about to kickstart or is trying to see how his career will kickstart. Then you have another person whose career has ended and is struggling with the fact that his career has ended. So I liked that as a theme. Both of them working like those two, the contrasts of that. I also like the production of this in terms of the locations. The field looked like a normal field. The local houses look like local houses. The beautiful houses. Tacha's house looks beautiful. Tacha's house, the swimming pools, the club, the places everywhere that looked expensive, looked kind of expensive, looked like, okay, they didn't hold back in splurging on getting those locations and everything. The football, like the camera work also was nice. I actually liked the camera work. Found out it was the guy that was the DP for, Anikolakpo that was the DP for this. So yes, overall, it was a decent and okay, Nollywood movie. And we don't get a lot of those, but it was okay. It was nice, at least to a level. With the whatever is there, if there's anything else, I'll probably come back one in my bad parts. But it was okay. I'm done. Oh.
Okay, no, I hear you. Thanks, for me. Mrs. C?
Yeah, so what did I like about Onye Egwu? Okay, few things. I liked the premise of it for the most part. No, it's not I like the intention. I think at the heart of it, it's kind of a wholesome story. And we've been on a weird, story place with Nollywood films. So I do like the premise of this. I like the intention. I'm sorry. I liked the pitch the boys were playing on, the sandy pitch. I liked that. I thought that worked for like a local community, type pitch. I liked Uche Jombo. I think I was mentioning to Mr. C that this is the second time I've seen her in this mom role. The last time was in Blood Sisters. And while I thought she was too young to be the mother of Inidima, I thought she did really well there. And I thought she did really well here as well. I think she blended really well into this role. I do worry about us putting actors that have not reached a certain age into these roles, but that's a topic for another day. I thought she did well anyway. Shoma Akota was just a vibe. She was just a side character, not even that much of a side character, but hey, she was a vibe. It was good vibe. I did like Emeka's performance in this. I enjoyed his Igbo. As somebody who does not speak Igbo or understand Igbo, I just thought it flowed quite nicely. Maybe a native speaker will tell me it didn't. But I did kind of enjoy that. I enjoyed the tweets. Mr. C and I paused and did a rewind to read all the tweets. The tweets were fun. If you didn't read them, probably read them. They did seem very Twitter. So that was fun as well. I did like that. Honestly, I liked that it was mostly inoffensive. I like that it was mostly inoffensive. I think, yeah.
Okay. All right. Some of the things I liked. Yeah, I liked a lot of the playfulness of this. This has a lot of interesting little bits that you don't see in other movies, especially these days anymore. Like, Alana said about the bottle. That's just such a fun throwback for people who used to watch Nigerian films, and like, of course, that's why in fact, that's what he was destined to see, as far as I'm concerned, given the character he was. I liked even there was that time where they came looking for Emeka's character, and he hid inside the freezer, deep freezer. I just thought that was again another. Number one, I can imagine the idea of like a freezer that has just been there, not working, but they can't throw it away. And everybody knows it is what it is. Although maybe you probably would have used it for storage, to be honest. But anyway, it was empty, and it's funny when they came looking for him and Mecca went to hide inside there. I thought that was fun. What other thing? I thought was interesting. They used football age very well in this movie. At first I wasn't sure whether it was intentional, but a couple of things solidify it. When Zubi says 29, I'm like, how far, my guy? And I was like, maybe they're doing football age. But later on, I think two things happened in the tweets that we paused. They verify.
Did they verify it?
Well, in the tweets, wait. Hey, let me speak to you, man. In the tweets, when we posted, they were talking about, how, is this guy really 29? So like, at least they are on our side where this seems a little dubious that this guy will be, so there was an argument about his age. And then we hear earlier in the beginning, the coach talks about him playing, be grateful for I think it's the 12 years you've been playing, right? Which would mean that he started playing by 17. But towards the end, I think he he says that he was he started he started quite late. And that's kind of how football age works, is that, they notice you late and then they wind back your age. So yeah, anyway, I think anyway.
This is you assuming it was intentional, but let's
It's not,
give them that.
I know I am assuming it was intentional, but I think there's enough there for you to take that it was intentional. Anyway, that I did like. Uche Jombo as well she has so many one or two things here that make me go, wow, that's quite good. That's a very good performance. There's one time where, I think she was speaking to, I think it was when she was speaking to, Zubi's character, Onye Egwu, and at the end, and, I can't remember, it was just Emeka trying to interrupt her, and the way she shoos him in the middle of the discussion felt so motherly. She just so many motherly aspects of her. That's when she tried to beat her kid, and the kid held him, and she was like, "Oh, you want to kill me?" It's just, yeah, they're quite. I thought she did quite well in she had a lot of very, very special moments in this film. And what else do I have? Yeah, I mess with the second part of this story a bit more. I agree with Rotimi, where in a country that loves football a lot, we don't have enough sports movies about it. I can understand why, because it is much more difficult to shoot and film and all of that. But I would, even if you could do it in a way where you are hiding a lot of the football, I wouldn't mind, to be honest. But I did appreciate that. So yeah, there's that second half. It's not very special, to be honest. But I definitely preferred it more than the second half, which we can go into the things we don't like. But before that, let me read some of the things that some people have said they liked. Asabi said, Uche Jombo 8. Still Human says, this was not a bad watch at all. Got a few laughs, chuckles here and there. Brother Shaggy didn't annoy me. The younger actors also acted well. Rotimi says, I miss this in my goodbye. I really liked the graphics for the tweets. Yeah, honestly, if you get the chance, read the tweets. They're actually, because a lot of times we see social media tweets and there's just not, number one, it just feels like some person in the studio wrote, like, it felt like maybe on other productions I'm talking about, it feels like there'll be tweets discussing what was in the script. And then the editor had to come up with it on the day, right? They didn't really think about it. But this one, it just felt like it was quite well thought out, and they had decent arguments, but it just sounds very Twitter-like. Anyway, Nollywood Must Change says, he likes Zubi's eyeballs. I'm joking. He said something else.
What the fuck? Why did I say that?
The funny thing, you know what? I was going through some of our old podcasts. This is a sidebar, before we go into what we don't like. But I was going through some of our old recordings, and Nothing Must Change had said he liked somebody's eyeballs before. It's actually quite a staple. So, shame on all of us, number one, for not picking that up. But yeah, not a problem at all. All right. So we'll pivot to the things that we don't like. I don't know if Elizabeth is ready. Elizabeth, you ready?
I'm ready. So, what did I not like? Actually, to be fair, I must have, my standard must have been very raised when I watched this. I should have watched Onye Egwu after watching my usual YouTube films. But I just watched Lobola Man on Netflix, so like say my standard was really high. This film was vibes. On vibes. On vibes. On vibes. On vibes. Because I can see the vision, and I'm not I refuse to make it part of the good because I don't want to see the vision. I want you to execute your vision. This is supposed to be like a family feel-good film, right? But the execution, if this film had just followed the mini Onye Egwu family from Uche Jombo's family and the entire maybe journey in a simple, logical manner, I think it would have worked. But then the fact that we had these two parallel stories and we were hoping to get that they converge at some point, which they didn't converge 40 minutes in. And by the time they converge, it was a cacophony of, it was a lot of things. It was a potpourri of confusion. Like, what were you thinking? I'm even trying to help. Like, maybe if I write it down myself and try to use like a thread, maybe if I do a process flow, information flow, maybe I will get it. And the fact that they couldn't, either the writer or the director or the editor, I don't know what's going on there. The fact that this film did not synergically come together, that's a minus for me. I couldn't stand any, and again, the problem with having burst of brilliance, which means it's not sustained, is that it kind of sometimes make the film really bad overall. At a moment you're saying, oh, I really like the fact that they paid attention to this, and the next scene is something else. Let's talk about when Onye Egwu, Zubi's character came back from abroad, and this guy came to pick him at the airport. I thought it was nicely done. The whole thing, it felt natural. But the moment they got in and then they had that, when there was the whole sequence of that whole bottle thing with his ex, I was like, what in God's name just happened here? There is no logical sequencing from my end. I couldn't see it. And I couldn't appreciate it because I was tired of trying to follow only the nice parts. So I cackled. There was times that I laughed, and the other times were like, WTF. I don't think it is good for my own part. This is what I think is bad. The writing, the logical sequencing of events to this film. Maybe at this point, maybe this is the visual that is faulty. And maybe, I don't know. I just did not. I tried to like it, but it's not possible. But
Oh, looks like we have lost. Elizabeth, we lost you right at the end. Do you want to? Anyway, I think we got the.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Where did you get me? I think overall, I'm just saying that I didn't like it. The logical sequencing, I don't know if you got that.
Yeah. Okay. Got you. All right. Nollywood Must Change. You want to tell us what didn't sit well with you in Onye Egwu?
Okay. Usually I don't talk about technical parts of movies or films, because I really don't get myself bothered about the technical stuff. But I think I kind of hate the sound in this movie. It was so jarring for me at some point. I just lose this thing. Like, it would be as if the sound was recorded with phone. At some point, it just goes back to being normal. I didn't like that part because it was not a good experience for me at all. So I'll kind of like re-echo what Elizabeth has said. I wish this movie was well written because I just felt like, apart from the story, most of the things I'll be saying I don't like about the film just almost feel like I'm nitpicking. But I think I don't like the execution of the story. I could see the vision. I could see that they have something to tell. They didn't want to do every other things they've been doing on YouTube or something we've seen husband and wife in their bedroom and parlor story. No, they wanted to do something inspiring. I could see that they didn't just sit down and say, let's just make a movie. Yeah, I kind of give them credit for that. But the execution, the story, the two stories we have been converged very well. It took time. At like 40 minutes of this movie, I was like, okay, what next are we doing? What next? Where next are we going? Please, let's just do this thing and wrap it up. Because they went, so you put you in the bottle, this and this and that and that and that and that. I know they were trying to do comedy. They want to put comedy into the movie. They want to, they know their target audience, but the way the story was executed wasn't good enough. I don't want to say it wasn't good at all because I enjoyed some part of the story, but the way it was executed, it wasn't good enough for me because it felt too long. And at the point I started, I increased the police speed, and at the point I just lost interest. And I was like, this was not my cup of tea. But I had to enjoy it to the end because I wanted to see, okay, how are they going to end it? What is this guy going to do? So the execution was not well enough. The story, even though there was a little bit of character arc, but it could have been better. It could have been better. And the performances, actually, people have been saying there are no bad performances. At some point, when the movie started, I was like, this movie is going to be good. I felt like these are the kind of movie we are supposed to be pushing to festival because I was expecting, I was in bamboozled. But at the point, the performances were becoming over the top for me. It was becoming over the top for me. And even Uche Jombo's performances, at some point, she did too much. And I was like, can she calm down? You are doing well already. I rarely see her in that kind of role. The only time I've seen her play mother was in Blood Sister. And now she's playing someone like a poor, a lower class mother, and she's doing it well. And at some point she became over the top. So I was like, okay, can she calm down? I've never liked Brother Shaggy. I don't know why. There's nothing he does that he does over doing too much. Well, it's work for some people, but they don't work well for me. Those accents. At some point, she was speaking, and let me say, she was speaking, like regular English we speak, and then she went back to accent. I'm confused. What do you want to do? Was she doing the accent intentionally or not? So I don't know. I was confused. What else do I like? Tasha's performance. That was, I was like, who put her in this movie? Because I was scared. And then the performance was just like, no. I think the performance for me was a no. Yeah, Tasha's performance for me was a no. And then the story of them, Tasha and Onye Egwu, getting together, it was all of a sudden. I think they could have just taken that away and a few other things. And the movie had to do too much at the end. So I don't say I don't hate all this movie, but I think they tried. Yeah, it was not bad.
All right, okay. Thanks, Nollywood Must Change. Alan, do you want to tell us some of the things that you did not like?
Okay, so I didn't like the first act of this movie, like the first half. And it's mainly because I felt like the pacing was so poor. It was so long, it dragged. I was like, when are we going to get to the meat of this story? They were just, I was just seeing pomo everywhere. Like, where is the meat, guy? When are we getting to the root of what we are doing here? And it took so long before we got there, and then it just rushed through. And another thing I didn't like, and I'm sorry, but I don't know if it's I don't know. I didn't like the Onye Egwu character, like the senior one. That's Zubi's character. I didn't like the character. And it's mainly because this character is supposed to be representing a sports person that is at the end of their career in something they really love. Usually, we know that this scenario is probably one of the biggest fears of most sports people. So the emotion that was required of the character, like when displaying, okay, I'm about to end my career, I need you to give me some emotion to make me feel something. And I felt nothing. I mean, guys, the market store was open like at the crack of dawn, and I did not buy one thing. They did not say anything to me. I just sat down and I was watching and waiting for the characters to connect to me in some way. Nothing. I didn't care that his career was ending. I don't know if it was because the character was not written enough in the sense that I should connect to the character, or the person playing the character was not giving off the right emotions. But I don't understand. And then he's banned his entire team from his was the baby mama. That whole baby mama situation was so weird. Thatcher being cast in it, her performance was as usual, but you know, she's not like originally an actress, so I understood the whole But even the situation itself, okay, so he has a baby mama somewhere, he has a child somewhere. The first time he's coming back to Nigeria after however long, is to come and start asking about a bottle. Bro, you didn't even ask about your child. What sort of father are you? People are saying they should have killed Boro. They should have killed Onye Egwu. What are you talking about? Like, what sort of father are you? You didn't even see your son and you're just shouting, where is the bottle you put me inside? Guys, see your pikin now. What's up? Like, that entire thing was just so off. The sequence of it was so disturbing. And after he did something like that and put something like that, some scenes later, the next half, you're busy saying, oh, I love you. No, I don't love you. Guy, you're a psycho. Why would you love somebody that basically just traveled to wherever to do whatever, and then he comes back, he can't even say, let me see my... In fact, he even went to visit strip club before he came to see his son. What sort of father is that? Haba. That character did not do it for me, and I think that was like a major issue with how everything now came about. So when we even got to the end, when he was crying in front of the pressmen, there was this part of the tears when I don't know, I can't even remember what he said, but like he brought I think Kayode's character's head with his and Johnny, and I just laughed because it was supposed to be a very sad scene, but I laughed because it looked ridiculous. The emotional side did not enter. So that was like my main grounds with it. The emotional. There were other issues here and there. Yes, I noticed the Nedu's switch up. The scene where she was talking to her son about the Zobo thing. Like she just lost her accent and went back to the usual Nigerian accent, and it was fluctuating like NEPA. I didn't understand that thing. So yeah, there were glitches here and there. But yeah, those are the things I didn't like.
God, thanks. Fluctuating like NEPA. All right. Okay. Not for the first time. We're a little bloodthirsty in this.
We got straight to murder, and I rate it
in this Nollywood conversational space. All right. Some comments have come through. All right. Where do I start from? It seems like a lot of you guys were waiting to comment for the bad spot too. All right. Asabi says, many things didn't add up. They didn't pay any foundation for Onye Egwu's internal struggle about having to give up football, save for a scene where he was misogynistic to his doctor. Secondly, what was there in the middle with the comedic filler scenes? They felt like a deviation of the plot. The football scenes were poor and didn't inspire me to root for them. The relationships weren't executed well. For instance, a coach that supposedly believes so much in this boy doesn't even bother to check on him when he's sick. Also, he dismisses usual when he asks. Then at the end, they come and give him stuff and say he was like a father to him. I didn't believe that because we didn't see that. Tasha's acting was very poor, but I'm not holding it against her. Since she's a celebrity, not an actor. Okay, this is the second time this has been said. That's not
currently in a position of actor.
She's acting at this point. I don't know whether to say maybe it's not her fault, but it's in the film. We have to hold it against somebody, right? The ending was so badly done. Watching him crying was like watching a politician crying. I felt nothing. Continued. That's just one person. All right. Wee says Tasha was so bad in this. Jenna says the movie was really missing the entire second act. They did that thing common in Nollywood streaming movies where what should be the second act starts like 30 minutes to the end of the movie and essentially becomes the third act. All right. Fair. Okay. Let's continue on the road. Where were we? Alana just wrote to me. Do you want to tell us some of the things that you didn't like?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to try to be as specific as I can be. So the very first thing, for a movie about football, visually, the weakest thing about the whole film. For a movie about football, the weakest thing they showed visually, the football was not footballing. And I know it's probably, like Mr. C had already mentioned, it's probably hard to try and visualize it. But like, I think that if you're going to do a movie about football, you have to just try and just like, pay just the technical aspects of how to create football. You understand? You need to pay, like, I don't believe Zubi or that young Onye Egwu, I don't believe any one of them knows how to play football. I don't believe that there was even one person that knew how to play football in this whole movie. For a movie about football, I don't think I saw any footballers. There was ball, but I don't think I saw any footballers. And that's just like, okay, a little bit let down for a movie about football. There's these two branches. I don't know if we call it A movie, the A story and the B story. These two, the young Onye Egwu and the older Onye Egwu, these whole two parallels. I can see how those two stories can work together, but I can also see like a movie where I can watch one movie about the story about the young Onye Egwu, and I can watch another movie about the older Onye Egwu. And these two movies don't have to be together. These two stories don't have to be together in one movie. Their characters can meet, but they don't have to be together in one movie. And which comes back to, like, I'm going to restate this. This is an okay Nollywood movie, and I have to thank you, Mr. C, because of coming to this space, I've kind of gotten an idea of what a Nollywood production approach to a story looks like. So even though I'm putting it in my bag, I'm like understanding, okay, this is how you guys go about it. The two stories, because you can't focus on one story. There's not enough there because you're not going to write it to have enough conflict. You're supposed to have like, okay, this is my goal, this is my obstacle, this is the conflict, this is the resolution. Because you don't write the conflict enough for one character, you have to pad it. So you put two stories there. But you're still not going to even still complete that, the emotional arc of your characters. You're not going to find out, Zubi, why do you accept that your career has come to the end now? How do you change from now being with your baby mama? You don't come to that conclusion. This young guy, you have your friend, that both of you are in a love triangle with this other girl. Your friend's mother is the one that's sponsoring the football team. How they're using wealth to oppress you and like push the guy that clearly does not have talent in front of you. There's conflict there, but you are not going to exploit. So what you do is that you add two stories together, then you pad it, which is what Elizabeth is talking about, that vibes. So Brother Shaggy, Adedimeji, Tacha, we throw in the production part is that I know these popular people find these people popular. Throw them, give them roles, and we'll add up and the scenes add up. So Nancy Sime is playing Nancy Sime. She does one scene, she's gone. Toyin Abraham is in this movie. She puts Zubi Michael's head in the water and she's gone. Less than a minute. So everybody's just padding. So it is like the Anikulako was time padding. So this one we just do character padding. But Ashagi, come and do your Barashaginess. Do what we know you for. Adejimeji, play your silliness. Nedu, play this Calabar. So we pad it. So the story that we could have that we will look at, we don't get, it's like an onion and we just peel the first layer, second layer, but we don't go deep. We don't see Zubi, like, I like what Olana was talking about, like, he's basically a shitty dad, this thing is a absentee father, and he doesn't, even when the kid shows up, he doesn't even have a moment, it's just, oh, my kid is here, but you're not even thinking about it like, okay, this is my kid, then, oh, I'm reconciled, I look at her playing with the kid, next, me and you are having dinner, then we're reconciled. Then I'm going to say this is for my own, I know everybody's cool, have their own, I'm not going to be a moralist here, but I can't watch another stripper scene in a Nollywood movie again. Those things, I have to fast forward. Last one I saw is on Kasak. I have to fast forward because what I'm seeing, the eyes cannot see. I cannot defend myself on the day of judgment what I'm seeing because it's not even that. It is always, it's too vulgar. Is the way, I know strippers is general, I'm not going to knock anybody that has to do stripper, but like, the way we shoot it is too vulgar for anybody to consume visually. I have to fast forward that part. I can't stand those things. Like, in a Nigerian movie, I don't know even that's one of the things they are doing to like, oh no, I put strippers in, can't you see we're being edgy? I'm like, no, buff. This thing is not nice to look at. Don't do it, please. I'm begging you. If I don't see another stripper scene in a Nollywood movie, I'll be fine. I'll be okay. Is there anything again? I don't think there's any real conclusion. the last act, I don't think there's a real emotional landing conclusion to this film. Zubi just comes, oh, my car is ending. They tell you that, oh, spiritually, like, somebody has your spirit in a bottle. You come, where's the bottle? Where's the bottle? You don't conclude on that. Next, you know, you make up with your girl. You agree that your career is over. I think the most emotional satisfying part is when his mother, Tina Ambassin, when she tells him that, okay, guy, and like, you can still have something. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to do after football. She says, no, there's still something for you. And I'm like, okay, that's part, but it's not earned. It's not earned. There's no emotional, it doesn't get, that emotional, it doesn't get, we don't earn that emotional moment. So we don't feel anything. But it's an okay Nollywood movie based on how Nollywood movies are. I've seen things that I cannot even talk about, but this is okay. I can still mention the idea and the intention is right. Maybe execution is less, but the idea is right. If we don't need to depend on the padding, using characters to pad the time. If we look at the story very well and ask ourselves, what do we want the audience to feel? What is this character going to change to? What's the change? What is the character arc? But yeah, that's my bad, basically. Yeah.
All right. No, thanks, Rotimi. Well said. I agree with a lot of that. The stripping thing, I actually understand where you're coming from very much. So I think Mrs. C was pointing out how jarring
the transition was. The scene before the stripping, the transition straight into just Nyash.
Do you want to say the transition again?
Jarring. It's just the transition straight into Nyash from something so unrelated. I was stunned.
It's a jarring transition, I think. But I think even going further for me is that it didn't feel right in this film. This could have almost been like a family adventure movie. There's no any reason why we needed to be in a strip club. Look, hey, and I'm not saying again that, you know, you can't have these kind of things. I'm not quite where it to me is where I don't want to see any, but
in which film?
But like, yeah, let's be thoughtful about this thing. And also, like, they could have been on the stripper thing. Just, we didn't have to see it.
We didn't have to see
the level, like, Rotimi, I think, like, what Rotimi was saying is like, we didn't need that level.
Also, this is just a side note. I don't know if there's anyone else that to speak, but this is in line with the conversation we've been having on how we don't put thoughts into the ratings of our films before we put scenes into the films. Like, remember with Big Love could have been like a PG-13 or something.
Yeah.
And then we had to have a scene with a boner, and then we had to have a shower scene. And it didn't need to be in there.
Also, like, with film language, it feels out of place.
Yeah.
It just feels like it doesn't belong. But yeah, anyway. All right. So Otats, you weren't here for the good parts. Do you want to say some of the things you liked? And then you can talk about some of the things you did not like.
I liked Tinamba looks so good. Really, and Inia there as well. But there were some laughs. But that's really it. So for me, I'm having a hard time deciding whether this movie is camp or whether it's just like bad. Like I'm so torn. But I did not really like a lot about this movie. For instance, I thought there was a lot of unnecessary camera work, and I hardly noticed camera work. But there is this scene where his friend is giving him the cleats, and then the camera starts spinning around, and I did not understand that. And there were a few things like that just felt random and out of place. Like I'm still not sure what the scene with him naked was supposed to accomplish. I also didn't understand why Zuby for this role. I'm kind of interested in seeing the casting tapes here because he didn't really embody sort of like a mega super football star. It wasn't really giving that. I found a lot of the melodrama and comedy was forced with music. Like they played a lot of hijinks music a lot of times. There were a lot of like guitar strings music at random points where they wanted, it was supposed to be like an emotional scene. But the problem was that none of that was ever set up. So it just felt like really loud guitar music happening over a scene that I was supposed to care about, but didn't really care about. Um, it just felt like the music was insinuating emotions that the story didn't provide. And then I thought a lot of the setup for it was a little lazy. Like you're setting up a mega football star, he's coming into the airport solo, he's in the club solo, no entourage, no people. It just felt a little underwhelming. Like I had a hard time believing that that was a star. I did not really understand why or how the exes got back together. Like, not only did he abandon them, he came back and was cruel, accusing her of trapping him in a bottle. It just didn't make sense, and it was such a leap when they were together at the end. And then the crying scene at the end, I think, was so hard because I laughed so hard and I didn't understand from where to where. But yeah.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Atas. Oh, great is here. Great. You went here for the good as well. If you want to say what you liked and what you didn't like, go ahead. Film heady.
I think, good evening, everyone. I think they pretty much said everything about the good and all. For the bad, I think the first thing I noticed was Uche's accent, I don't know, maybe people who are not Igbos will not understand, but the way she was speaking and the dialect of, I think it's Abiriba, or I don't know what she was speaking, it was so different from the way Emeka was talking. And, I just felt like if you guys are a family, you should choose, because if there's a lot of Igbo accents, there's a lot of different dialects in Igbo. So, choose one tongue to speak with. It was even difficult for me to understand exactly what Uche was saying. I have to, and I feel I found her part the most interesting in the film, but I still struggled to hear her. I had to be reading the subtitles. So you could tell that at some point I was like, can she not speak Igbo properly, or is this Abiriba, or. Also, I feel like this film was supposed to be an inspirational story, but I don't know if, this thing with throwing comedies here and there, they wanted to make it, just put a few bits of comedy and all. And I feel like this Brother Shaggy's character was just, I don't know whether it was a last minute thing or because it had nothing to do with the story. In fact, it made the story lazy. There were some natural bits of comedy, like when she was rubbing anointing oil on the leg. Those things that is relatable. It's something that can happen it's something that happens in Nigerian homes, and I think those are the naturally funny. They did not have to add Brother Shaggy and all that. When Uche was like, yeah, beat me. When she raised that, stretched her hands and all the way there were just some good comic, that would have done for the comedy and all of that. What else? I think I liked I liked Uche's acting. I think she really delivered that role properly as a Nigerian mother. She did that well. Then I think Zubi, I don't know. I think she was the wrong cast for this film. The scene where the doctor was telling him, "Oh, you can't use your legs again." And I felt like that scene felt like he was not reading the script. Like he was just saying anything that was coming from his head. Was like, what are you saying? At some point, he was speaking. He did not even carry himself like a star. There was nothing about what's his name, about Zubi that said international footballer, world famous. There was nothing about it. There was nothing about him that said that. That was the worst cast ever. I was like, think, why? Why Zubi? What is? Is it the look? Is it the physique? What was it? Why did he have to Zubi that role? There was nothing at all about it that said that he was suited for the role. Then I think someone has mentioned this, but in here though, I think at some point, that Calabar, that is it Akwa Ibom accent or whatever, she forgets, then she switches to, she just starts speaking normal. Then again, maybe she will not remember, and then that was not fun to watch. Then yeah, for the good part, I think what's his name, I think he was believable as a young little boy. Most times when they cast people to play young actors, young children, there are most times you see somebody that looks like he's in his 30s, but this guy he looked like like a young boy. He looked like I don't know, he might be older or so, but he looked the part. So I think they got that right too. He looked the part. So yeah, that's it.
All right. No, thank you. A lot of comments have come through in this. All right. Vanessa, says, I enjoyed in this. You know what? I didn't mention in my good, but as somebody who has had a problem with like in those last 20 performances or so, I didn't mind her in this at all. Actually, yeah, I thought she played the part of local champion very well. Obviously not a disparaging term. Local champions are great, but yeah, she just fitted well. Lamy says it wasn't bad, but I didn't like it and couldn't finish it. It felt like just a collection of random scenes that didn't say anything to me. The football aspect from the start was very off. And I couldn't get into it as the main premise. The acting, could help us. Let me see what else. All right. Mrs. C, do you want to tell us what didn't sit well with you?
Yeah, I think someone mentioned that this could have been two different movies and they didn't need to be the same film. I think that was rude to me. And honestly, what I would have preferred was just more time spent on young Onye Egwu and that whole story and that whole process and all of that happening. I think I would have enjoyed that more. Multiple reasons, right? One, I feel like that is kind of the story or the kind of thing we're missing, that kind of wholesome, and someone mentioned, for a country that is so into football, we don't have football stories. And I think that whole thing of, this down, local team and their little star and just, overcoming the odds and the drama with him and his friend and, being happy for someone or trying to support someone while you're in their shadow, all of that stuff. I feel like that could have been a more enjoyable story or a story with more depth for me. But then it felt like because they were trying to do these two different parts and them having them meet, and they meet in just the most superficial way, there is no satisfaction in that meeting. I think when I was watching it, when we watched it the first time, we watched it with a few friends, and I think a few people were speculating, is this a future and then past type thing? Is the young Onye Egwu, this adult Onye Egwu, and we're kind of seeing his past and we're seeing him now and how he struggled, and there was that speculation, but it wasn't it wasn't that. So yeah, they converge in what I found very unsatisfying way. Even getting them together, it felt a little so the movie can happen, right? Because I don't know what Onye Egwu was trying to salvage, right? What Onye Egwu Senior was trying to salvage from trending on Twitter by going to sponsor some kid. Yeah. But anywho, so there was that. I feel like, the second story. And another reason why I feel like we could have done without adult Onye Egwu's character was because without adult Onye Egwu's story, the character could have been there and we could have still had him in the end, but with his story, it was just so deeply unlikable. I don't care that this guy's career is ending. I know he's stressed. According to his doctor, he's had 2 ACLs in the last 2 years. And I know that is unpleasant for him. But honestly, we open with him doing a misogyny and I tap out. Screw your ACL. Then, I don't know, man. I feel like I want to see, I think what I got from this film was I do want to see Zubi in a more serious role. I do want to see him playing a wealthy Igbo man. I think that would be nice to watch. But I don't feel like he was able to capture and I think what he was going for was the arrogance of, a big footballer, but, with the weight of the world on his shoulder and career about to end. But all I got was this person's bad vibes. Right? He just walked around with a sore look on his face and looked like he sucked the light out of every room he walked into. And I thought, I don't care that this guy's career is ending. All right? I don't care. I think someone else mentioned the whole thing with him getting back with the baby mom. I'm like, I don't care. I think she's making bad choices. Him, crying at his, like, again, I don't care. Just take Junior Onye to Europe and let's call it a day. Cause, I want to say he's the one I care about. But even then, because we spent so much time on Onye Senior's story, we didn't have time to develop Junior Onye past. My mom doesn't care about my dreams. I know you're frying akara day in, day out to keep this family together, but you don't care about my dreams. We didn't have a chance to develop him past that. We didn't have a chance to truly develop his friendship, to give them, let their conflict draw out, right? Let them resolve. There was so much to the younger Onyegu story and family that could have happened, and we lost time for that to Senior Onyegu. And yeah, that was one of the things I did not appreciate. Honorable mention / dishonorable mention, Brother Shaggy, always a displeasure. Nancy as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And shout out, dishonorable mention, I've already mentioned it, the strip club. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Mrs. C. All right. Mrs. C is still my biggest point. And I intentionally didn't say this just so because I didn't want her to steal it, but
Sorry.
yeah, Onyegu's senior character was so deeply unlikable, that it just did. Oh, Vanessa. Okay, Vanessa is all right. Vanessa, go on.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Vanessa.
All right, tell us.
Hi, guys. I was out having a life. Yeah, big shade. You know what? I didn't like this. But I didn't hate it either. So I liked Tinia doing this. I quite liked Tinia doing this. She looks amazing. I enjoyed her just playing like overly enthusiastic mother who just wants to get her son out of this place that she thinks she's above, by virtue of the fact that she married his father. I found her characterization interesting. The length she would go to help her son succeed, all of that, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, Sunny Danger is always a pleasure. See, see, anytime I see Sunny Danger or I see Ali Nuhu, I'm happy. So yeah, it was nice to see Sunny Danger. What else did I like? Yeah, that's it. On to the things I didn't like. I think this film had an identity crisis. I don't think, or maybe it didn't. Who am I to say? I don't think this film was supposed to be a comedy. I don't know who told them that they had to make it a comedy and cast all these people who ended up doing shit all for supposed laughs that no one got. Because we started this film with a bit of misogyny. I literally was like, oh, misogyny, purr. Because we're literally 2 seconds into this film and my man is talking about getting me a male doctor. Okay, cool. I was like, okay, fine. I thought, okay, based off of that meeting, we were going to go into, at least if we were going to have Senior Onyegu, I thought we were going to go into like this deep dive into like what the mental headspace of an athlete is like when they're told that they cannot play their sport anymore, and how that affects their lives and the people around them and the choices that they make going forward from there. I thought that was what this was going to be. And then all of a sudden we make a detour into unnecessary juju and and accusations of locked up in a bottle. I was getting whiplash. I was like, wait, what? How are we going down this rabbit hole of she's locked him in a bottle? They did that whole montage of visiting a priest and a tarot reader. And I was like, what is going on? Am I still watching the same film? I was so confused. And while all that was going on, Uche Jombo was frying akara up and down the place. I was like, what is happening? I had to ask by minute 48, even though maybe I had asked too late. I should have asked by minute 30. When is this film starting and when are their lives intertwining? because I asked that Mini 48, I was like, when are their lives intertwined? When do they meet? And then 2 minutes later, what's his face says, oh, I saw somebody in your hashtag. And it just felt very convenient, because the truth is, people talking about him on Twitter did nothing to him or his reputation or his career. He managed to go on Nancy Sime's show. She supposedly makes a joke, even though I don't think that was a joke. And he walks off the set, but that does nothing to affect his career. You don't tell us that any of his life has been affected, except probably his son's life and the mother of his child's life. That's whose lives were affected. The mother of his child was accused of bad things, of juju, and locking him up in bottle, and her son, and accused of all sorts of things. That's whose life was affected, not his. That's whose reputation was affected. And then they do this whole thing, and it's like, oh yeah, let's go and meet Junior Onye Egwu, and then Junior Onye Egwu has an allergic reaction to ginger, or perhaps poison. We don't know. And I'm like, okay, so he's stuck in bed. It just kept going on and on and on. And Brother Shaggy was doing what in this film? What did Brother Shaggy do in that film? What did that pastor guy do in that film with the Shaggy? What did even Latif Adedimeji do in this film? I'm very confused. We could have done without them having father. Why not single mother it all up with Joma Chukwuka, Uche Jombo, and Nedu? Why? Because I don't think Latif Adedimeji had anything to do with this. Yeah, I didn't understand the decision to make this a comedy. I think it did the film a disservice. We could have had a really, at least not really, but at least to a large extent, we could have had a more introspective film as to what, depending on football, your entire life can do for you, and what that means if you don't have a plan B. If they try to pass that same message to Junior Onye Egwu about focusing on school and perhaps having something else as a plan B, all of that could have been dealt with instead of being exchanged for cheap laughs that I didn't laugh. On to Zubi Michael. I really love Zubi Michael, and I think Zubi Michael, under the right direction, has the potential to do really well as a dramatic actor. As a serious actor, play a serious role. This just wasn't it. It was a combination of directing, acting choices, and a really bad script. And it just all worked against him in this situation. The directing did not help at all. I could see how earnestly I'm sure he was trying to give a really good performance. It just didn't land. And I still want Nollywood to not have him play second fiddle to a thug in a crime movie ever again. Let him do other things. But if you're going to allow Zubi Michael, or give Zubi Michael the opportunity to do other things, then be prepared to support him and give him the tools necessary so that he can make the best out of the role. But yeah, again, I didn't find it particularly offensive. I just think it had an identity crisis and didn't know what it wanted to be. And so it just waffled on and on and on. For a film that was short, it felt really long. The runtime was short, but I was like, can we get to where we're going and do what we're doing really quickly? Yeah.
All right. Okay, thanks, Vanessa. All right, I'm just going to say my little bit and then Uche speak. Just in case she has any general pushbacks on everybody, we can pivot into the pushback from there. So the things I didn't like, I think Rotimi has already said, is it Rotimi? No, actually it was Nollywood Must Change, mentioned the sound, thought the sound was quite bad. The football, people have talked about the football, not good. Thatcher, not good. I guess the main thing I want to focus on is Zubi's role. And Mrs. C has said most of what I want to say about it. Because I think most people are like, yes, well, let me not speak for everybody, but the people who like the parts of this film, like the Onye Egwu Jr.'s role better. And I just like, there's just so much more there. There's, he has his mom who is trying to do the best for him in terms of wants him to do more than football. And he doesn't understand that. He has friends. He's not quite rich. He has the resources enough. And then his mother's angle has this annoying, one of her sons is just doing gambling. She also is doing politics with, other mothers in here. That just seems so much like a rich area, a much more developed area, and the place I wanted, this film to focus on. However, it's not saying that this first half couldn't have worked. It's just, like Mrs. C pointed out, Zubi's character is so deeply unlikable. He does suck out the air of every room he's in. There's no part of me I don't care about him, like trying to revive his career or regain any part of his career. And then when the film finishes on him, like crying about his retirement, I just don't care. And everything feels so superficial about, he just seems like a very nasty person, and I don't care to follow him. I don't care to see him succeed. Even him sponsoring, the Junior Onye Egwu, it's not even his idea. It's Williams Uchemba's idea, no? Right?
Yeah.
That comes to him. So like, it's not, and he's doing it because Williams Uchemba is doing it to sort out his reputation that's going on Twitter. Like, so this character has, there's no problem with having morally gray characters. I've started binging House again. So much fun. House is such a terrible person, but he's so interesting because he's charismatic on one end. And even though he does so many bad things, you can see why, they keep him, in the role. It's cause like he is very good at his job, and he gets things done, and he has a method that makes him good at what he does. We don't really see that with Zubi's character. People just tell us that he's good and stuff at football or whatever. And yeah, I never got the reason why I should be in support of anything Zubi was doing. And unfortunately, he does take a large chunk. But that is my main gripe with the movie. It's not even just that. I think we could have just done the second half. I see what somebody like Not Even Must Change was saying. It's like, I can even see where they could have done, we have a star falling versus a star rising, and we're just watching those two bounce back. Again, on paper, it could have worked. It just didn't. It didn't work out because I really did not like watching Zubi on screen. Anyway, all right. Anyway, that said, this is usually what the pushback section, but Uche Jombo has joined us. Very happy to have you. If there's anything you disagreed with us, or if you wanted to say anything, please go ahead.
Hi everyone. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't usually know how to
We can hear you.
navigate these things. Hi everyone. I welcome criticism anytime, any day. But I would also like to point out some things. Zubi's character from beginning tells you this is not who you're supposed to be rooting for. It shows you who he is from the very first scene. He did not come out to you saying, I'm a good person. Even helping Junior Onye Egwu is selfish. It's something to get people talking other than the juju thing. Someone mentioned something about mental health. If you being chased, if you as a footballer who is supposedly a huge striker is in a stadium with people cheering for you, the ball is on your feet, and the goalpost is open, there's nobody there, but yet you cannot score a goal. That is mental health representation of what the character is going through. Because somebody said, I don't know what he was doing naked. That's what he was doing. Like he's been stripped naked, yet he cannot do that which he does. So he wakes up from that nightmare to a call saying this is spiritual. That is a representation. It's a film, it's an act. And again, we were telling two different stories till they meet. Each can stand on its own, but it's about small Onyegu's journey and how God used a falling star to put him where he's supposed to be. That's the story. And we were not doing this film thinking it was a comedy. It was drama. It was after it started looking like a comedy. Nobody went, not me, none of my team, uh, um, nobody on my team thought, oh, let's do a comedy. We were doing football drama. First of all, this film is like my love letter to football, which I love so much. If anybody knows me, knows that. And somehow I thought that was delivered. That's, we are discussing it on this forum. It's amazing to me. I've been listening. I know the things I'm taking with me from this conversation. So I want to thank you guys. As for Zubi's characterization, I feel like he comes across who we wanted him to be. Not very likable falling star. Do you understand that? You know, there was no redeeming quality to him. We didn't meet him as a star. We meet him as a falling star, but every other thing, his habits, he's picked up as he was rising. You know, some of these people, when they are high and when they are coming down, those habits are difficult to leave them. They are still with them. Very first thing, someone is telling him his medical problem. He's saying, get me the male doctor. As simple as that. Most of the times you see fans trying to take picture of him. He's working. To him, everything is about him. So even helping Junior Onye Egwu is still about him. That's just who the character is. So if you watch the film and ended up not liking the character, that's exactly what we wanted you to feel. Okay, I think I'm just trying to explain that part of his character. All right, let me hand over the mic.
All right. Thanks, Uche. Yeah, for me, and I think I probably mentioned with that Zubi's character, it's not even that, it's not just that he is not a nice person to follow. I think, so maybe I don't know if I can explain this, is that I think if I decide to do a film about watching paint dry, right, I can just I can paint a wall and just point to the camera and like, hey, my film is about watching paint dry. And essentially somebody can say, yeah, but I don't want to watch paint dry. It's boring. It's uninteresting. I don't find it interesting. And I was like, yeah, but that's what I wanted to shoot. And it's sort of the way I feel about Zubi's character, just in the sense that I didn't want to follow that person for that long. It felt unsatisfying. If that's what you wanted to shoot and if that's the intention, that's great. And maybe there's somebody who watches this and comes out for, take something different from it. But I think that was my point. And that's why I kind of used, I used somebody like, House. If people have watched House MD, House is a deeply unprofessional, narcissistic, sexist, sometimes racist. He makes all of the, worst scripts, but he's very good. There's something about the House character that makes you almost want to root for him. You kind of root for him because maybe, at the end of the day, he's saving lives or something, but there's something that makes you want to root for him. And it's up to, I know filmmaking is hard and all, but it's up to somebody to figure out why you want to follow characters that are terrible or bad. And, anti-heroes aren't uncommon in films, like they happen, but there's something that has to be somewhat engaging about them. And again, for me, there was something that just sucked the soul out of the film when he was in. He was just so moody, and it wasn't just about like, the sexist remark he made. It just was very tiring to watch. Elizabeth, did you want to say something? You have your hands up. Elizabeth, did you have it? Okay. Is there any other pushback?
Oh, sorry, I have something to say. I was trying to to unmute myself. So, my own pushback, which is not even really pushback, is how can people say that there's no need for Lateef Adedimiji's character? Come on, How would I have laughed? Like, what else would I have laughed to? So you mean that if that character was not there, the shenanigans between him and that his wife, when he was hiding from her at Shaggy's shop, and then that end where she was being a mad person at the feed, that he was telling everybody that he doesn't know who is this person. So how will I not laugh if he's not there? Like we're saying that this film was a lot, and you're saying that one singular part. So some of the parts where I had to laugh, I shouldn't laugh. And I get it that, Vanessa said that maybe this shouldn't have been comedy and, maybe just hone on the emotional arc. But I personally think that if this was a family movie, which I think was what it was trying to go for, if it was like well executed in the story in itself, in the primary form, if the story was coherent, if there was some form of cohesion here, coherence in the sense that we know what it is trying to say, it is deeper, like we go below the surface, we explore the themes between, the moms, the struggle, why she didn't want her son to play, why the other mom wants her son to play. If we talk about the struggle of leaving the hood, if we talk about, what you do when you are not a star and you are going to fall and you don't know what else to do, without bringing all those bottle shenanigans in, which also never goes anywhere. If Bigger Onye Egwu had addressed, confronted himself, internal conflict, and where he confronted himself and the choices he made in him being an upsetting father, and maybe how his upbringing had shaped him to be that. If there was a way to properly converge the two stories thematically in a way where it makes sense on a deeper level, it wouldn't have mattered if we had a few laughs here and there, really. But it's the fact that this is not coherent in any way, and it's not cohesive, it's not tight. That in fact, half of the time you're wondering why some scenes come after another scene, and it just seems like, we had scenes written down and you're placing them like cards. Things is like you have jumbled cards together and you just pick one, pick two, pick three. Nothing's logical in the sequencing. And so if this was a more coherent and cohesive story, we would have laughed, and it would have been a family story. It's about football, it's community, bringing people together. Come on. Me, personally, and we could have still achieved the emotional arc if this was a properly done film, but if wishes were horses,
All right. Okay. Nollywood Must Change.
I'm gonna do a pushback to what Uche Jombo said concerning Zubi's character. For this kind of story, I think this story feels like something that's built on emotions and kind of inspirational in a way. That character, a totally bad character doesn't work for that kind of story actually. But we're not saying that you can't make a bad character, like you can't make a character that the audience would hate. But we can hate this character and it's still going to be like, still going to have this side that would work for this kind of story. Because once you say this, you want us to hate this character totally, how do you want us to trust the young Onye Egwu with Zubi? Because that means he's going to exploit him in the end, even after the whole thing. So that characterization doesn't work for this kind of story. Yeah, we're not saying that you should not have like a morally gray characters. People can be good. It can be a bad person to his family. It can be good to people outside, kind of thing. But saying that you want us to totally hate this character, I think you guys just, after you made your thing, just realized that this character is not like people, so you have to escape it as that. But I think you could have made a character that would have seen, okay, yeah, I kind of like this character and I kind of appreciate him for doing what he's doing. So, but making him totally kind of bad doesn't make sense for this kind of story you are trying to tell. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
All right. Okay. No, thanks. Nollywood Must Change. Uchenna, you just come on. Did you have things you wanted to Any pushback you wanted to do for this, or any general thoughts before we go into our summaries?
I guess I would say that it's slight pushback and slight general thoughts. Like I said in one of my comments, I said I felt that the second act came in much too late. All the talk about the unappealingness of the senior Onye Egwu character, I think that what would have made the story work a little bit more is if the whole entire thing about him somehow mentoring a younger player had started earlier, and then that became the meat of the story through the second act, where we see him, somebody who we've seen as selfish and sour and unseemly, put himself in a position where he has to sacrifice, parts of himself to nurture and bring up somebody else. And through that, he learns the virtue of selflessness, and finds some sort of redemption in that, even as his own football career ends. That way, there is a payoff to him being such an unpleasant individual. And we see more of a symbiotic relationship between the younger and the older player. So I think that was kind of a missed opportunity because it came in much too late. It came in as the climax of the story when that should have been the conflict of the story that they are wrestling with through the second act. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's a general comment, but it's partially part of. I'm partially pushing back against the last speaker. But yeah, I just think that that story should have started a lot earlier, and it would have given a lot more balance to the story and to the characters. The first part of the movie, with all this running around and all these random hijinks, could have been all of that stuff could have been confined to the first act, I think.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Uchenna. Rotimi, did you have something you wanted to say before we go to the summaries?
Yeah, because I had to step out when I heard Uche Jombo was when she was speaking. So I just caught just a little bit small about like this thing, like maybe this movie we didn't set out to make this a comedy, and I'm just like right from the beginning I'm saying that this is an okay Nollywood movie because I think everybody likes some idea about the premise, and I we all like the idea of what we think the story could have become. The only thing is, like, for me, is like, there's something I kind of noticed that, like, people, I understand. So look at it like this, that this movie making is a business. So we're trying to sell the movie. So one of the things I found out is that, like, we pad the movie with star-studded actors and known faces to attract our crowds, to attract our audience. And I'm like, I've done production at least to a certain level and I understand there's one thing. When you have so many stars and you're managing so many people, that thing can consume and probably even make you lose even focus on the actual story that you're trying to tell. Because you are managing so many people. Mr. Marconi is there for like 1 minute, he's in the church. Tony Abraham is there for 1 minute. Nancy is there for 1 minute. That's a lot of people. But Shaggy is playing the same Brother Shaggy character. He's not acting. That's the Brother Shaggy character that he has played in multiple movies. So you have multiple people that are adding on. Then so your main focus, that Zubi, that's even, I think it was Vanessa that was saying like, she just doesn't want Zubi to play the same role where he's like a thug. And I'm not like, and it's good for actors to try different things. So, but it's like, you don't get to pull what you need out from Zubi's character because we are dealing with so much quote unquote filler from these multiple characters that we're dealing with because we're not focusing enough on the 1-2 characters. Less is a kind of, my own pushback is kind of that less is more. Less people to focus on, less characters you need to worry about. Then you can look more into the story. Then you can drag out more things from the depth of the story. So the actual story, the idea, the thing comes out. Because dealing with all the multiple people involved in a production and dealing with these people it will consume you and you can lose track of that actual part that you want to get out, the emotional core. But I also know that I know films that are on like streaming people's tables, and basically they are basically telling the projects that they don't have enough stars. There are no stars in this film. Why would people come and watch this thing? We don't have people that have the followership, and that's why we put the stars here. I heard, like, maybe this is my small pushback when people are like, oh, Tacha acting. I'm like, Tacha is she's a celebrity from Big Brother. She has a big fandom. If you throw her in a movie, people are coming to watch because they are fans. But like, you're not throwing the movie. Why are you going to use that to do? So that's that point that you're pulling between your story and pulling between, you want to pull audiences. And when now audiences come and see that the story is not what they hope it is, it now goes, it backfires. Having so many people now makes it backfires. Because people are like, I don't see my characters, people that I like, my faves in something that I want to watch. So yeah, that's just my own 2 cents.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Rotimi. Uchenna, you have your hand up?
Yeah, just following up on that, not really pushing back. Yeah, Rotimi mentioned something interesting that I've been kind of interested in for some time, which is the extent to which the streaming services recommend stars. And the thing about it is, I just wonder how effective it is at this point in history. You know, the star system seems to be fading, even in Hollywood, where people are attracted more to IP than they are to stars. And in Nollywood, I just wonder, I mean, yeah, there are certain stars I know that have big followings, but the whole trend of casting influencers, I wonder if that thing actually works. Like putting Tasha in a movie, is that going to make people watch the movie? I mean, the last movie I remember Tasha being in was that, was it called The Tiger's Tale? And nobody even knows it exists. And right now on YouTube, you have all these movies that are packed with influencers, like these movies that seem to be set in private schools where the entire cast is influencers. And I look at their viewing numbers and nobody's watching them. So I don't know. I mean, I just don't know if the star system really means as much as it used to. I mean, especially when you come to Nollywood where you have a lot of actors making 12 movies a month. I mean, part of what makes the star system effective is the fact that stars are not easily accessible. So whenever you see them, you know, you really want to watch that. But when they're in every single movie, like Brother Shaggy, okay, I mean, I know he has big fans. I don't find him remotely amusing. I know there are people who like him, but is there anybody who's really going to rush to go and see a movie because Brother Shaggy's in it when he's got his channel that has all his skits and stuff? I mean, I don't know. It's just something I think about a lot.
Okay. Fair enough. Thanks, Uchenna. All right. Worth doing a summary now. Thanks for all the pushback. Want to start with Elizabeth. Elizabeth, please give us your summary for Onye Egwu.
Honestly, I started out having absolutely no expectations watching this. I love the family setting thing, the idea of community, family in here, and especially the first act for me. I thought there was something there, and then it unraveled with the stories that came left. I don't know what is going on. I didn't know what was going on even till the end. I swear, even like what is the end? I didn't know what was going on. So this was very confusing for me. It was difficult for me to like it. I didn't think it was tight enough as a story. I think it took on too much and did nothing with it. But it had its moments. I really appreciated the thought, the intention that went to the acting, to the reenacting, to the little things. Because this film has a way, it did have a way of explaining, or rather showing the mundane life that I think is quite relatable to people. So I think he really excelled in that. But then burst of brilliance that is not sustained. It's really nothing. It's not brilliant either. I don't know what to do with it. But I laughed. And it made me laugh. I thought Shege is to be, if there was a separate movie, I want to repeat it just in case somebody's in the writer's room. If you want to give me a character like Edo and Shege together, doing shenanigans together, Shege stealing from Eno's bag, I will watch it. Okay? But then again, there's hardly anything to hold on to. So watch it though. If I don't say I recommended it, say Elizabeth recommended it, but Elizabeth said you can watch it. If you go on Prime, you really fit all the films in Prime, so you can watch it.
All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. I think what you're recommending is fit for maybe Nedu TV or something, but I don't know about film about that, just that. But anyway, thanks. Who was, it was like Nollywood Must Change.
Okay, for me, I kind of think that this movie is not, should I say, it's just there for me, not bad, not good, because I think it's one of the few things that are tolerable that Prime has offered us. Because when I started the movie, when the movie started for me, I was like, this movie is good. These are the kind of movie we should push to film festivals and all that. But it was more subtle, like if they had, done more better, like, put more effort into the production, into the performances, more subtle performances, kind of. But along the way, I just feel like the writing is not that good. So, but I just felt like this movie is tolerable in a way. I would recommend it to people who just don't care about film writing. Some people don't really know what's well written or what's badly written, except they just feel bored, kind of thing. But I would recommend it to people who want to see something better. They don't want to see something costing, It is not bad, it's not so good, so it's just there. Yeah. That's what I think.
All right, thanks. Nollywood Must Change. Alana, do you want to tell us, give us your summary?
Yeah. My summary is that I actually like this movie in the sense that it was very home videoing in nature. It's just something you can sit down and watch with family, minus the stripper scene, which is actually something that needs to be worked on because when everyone was talking about the stripper scene, I actually recalled a discussion during some other space where we were talking about the necessity of certain scenes, like the necessity of nudity in certain scenes, and that scene took away. It could have been any other place they were hanging out. It could have even been a bar and it would be more family friendly. We didn't need to see those naked girls or whatever. But yeah, generally, I actually enjoyed this movie. I did not think it was comedy. I did not think they were going for comedy. But I liked the comedic elements to it. So it was a nice movie. It was an okay movie. And like I said, with certain understandable behavior, even the misogyny that a lot of people seem to have issues with, I totally understood it because yes, it was jarring at first, and then I thought, would somebody like this actually say something like this? I was like, yeah, I see it happening. So yeah, it was a good movie, and once again, I really appreciated the infusion of the Nigeria-Ghana game. It just, it made sense. Well, yeah, it was just an okay movie. It was a likable movie.
All right, thanks, Alana. Rotimi.
Yeah, I'm with Olana. It was an okay movie. It's not, I won't say, if there was a grading system, I would not say this is a A+ movie, but at the same time, it's not an F movie or it's not a D movie. It's a C+, maybe if I appraise it, it's like a B+ movie. So it's an okay Nollywood movie. So in a sense that people that are okay with Nollywood are happy with Nollywood and just want to see their stars, it's fine. It's fine. Could there be more could have been done? And the ironic thing is that more could have been done with less other extra characters and focusing on our main characters and trying to get out the depth from our two characters because there's a story there. And I think that's the maybe in some way, maybe the small, what works against this movie is that because a lot of people are disappointed because they can see what the story could have been. And there's more to it. So that disappointment is what makes you like, okay, this thing could have been more. There's more there from these two sides of the story. And even another way, I can probably still argue that these stories could be two separate. The young Oyego story can be one film. The older Oyego story can be one film. You understand? So it still works because as I said, if you don't have high expectations for it. If you don't have high expectations for it, you're okay. And I think that I'm even going to push this to Mr. C. So you guys have, I know there have been a couple of releases and you guys have not even reviewed a couple of movies that have come out. For you guys to review this, that's even to still show that there's still some level of merit to this film There are other things that a lot of people are not even reviewing. You guys even reviewed this to show that there's merit to this film. There's some form of merit. So it's okay. It's not the best, but it's definitely not the worst Nollywood film I've seen. I can watch this. I can recommend this to people.
All right. Thanks, Rotimi. Atas, do you want to give us your summary?
Yeah. So I've been thinking about it. Actually, don't. Anyways, but my summary about this film, I didn't like it. I think there are a lot of parts of it that don't work for me. I don't like the casting, and this is for almost every character. There's maybe a few that I think worked, but overall, I didn't like the story in the way it was told. There were just a lot of plot holes, and I was very underwhelmed by it. I think mostly because of the amount of people in it and the amount of people from like really strong acting backgrounds in it. So it felt a lot more overwhelming than underwhelming, rather. Both underwhelming and overwhelming, honestly. At some point, as people started coming out more and more, I was very overwhelmed. But it also was very underwhelming in the use of the people that it had and the resources that it had and the story it was telling.
All right. All right. Thanks, Atas. Great. Filmhead, do you want to give us your summary?
I think generally I would not watch a film like this. There are a lot of films on Prime like this. I watch this film solely because it's Uche Jombo. That's the truth. Because there are some people attached to films and let me see. That is why I watch. And I don't know if I would say it's an okay film. Even as the running time was short, I was still trying to see the top all of that. It was difficult to watch. So there were some few this thing here and there, and there were just too many things were happening. They didn't eat well. Then when you did the film, and you were like, this makes sense. So it was difficult. If I'll say, but it's not a bad film anyway. But it's definitely not something. I don't. If she was not the producer, I would never have seen this film. That's the truth. That is it.
All right. It's a Jumbo fan. I understand. Who else do we, is that everybody else?
I'm a human being too.
Okay. It's Vanessa. All right.
Is it because I did confess today, so you've
Yeah,
forgotten
like,
who I am?
oh yeah, and Uchenna as well, so. Okay.
Oh wow, see your life outside. I think Uchenna is supposed to go before me. Uchenna, please go ahead.
Yeah, I went into this film with pretty much no expectations because I'm not a huge football fan, and I'm less a fan of films about football, and I'm also not a huge fan of squeaky clean, wholesome family films, which this seemed like it was going to be. But once I started watching it, I was quite engrossed in it, and I found myself enjoying it. And I think I enjoyed it so much that I actually lost track of the time. So I didn't realize, I mean, I was aware of the fact that it had some pacing issues and it had a lot of extraneous characters that I felt didn't add to it and that in fact distracted from it, like Brother Shaggy, for example. But I found myself really getting into it. And when we got to the point of the plot where, he's supposed to mentor a younger player, I felt, all right, this is excellent. This is a great story for a film. But then I looked down at the timer and I saw that there were 30 minutes left and the movie's almost over. So that's my problem with it. I've already said it like twice already, but I think that the second act starts way too late. They miss the meat of the story. But the part that I watched, despite myself, and also despite not being a huge Zuby Michael fan, I enjoyed it, really, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, I feel it's like watching it, I can see flashes of the movie that they wanted to make, but probably weren't able to fully realize. So I give it some grace, and I did enjoy it to some extent. I mean, I can't say that as a complete movie that it completely works for me, but I did enjoy watching it. So I'll say that I'd recommend it to a certain kind of person.
Right. Thanks, Uchenna. All right. Vanessa, do you want to do your summary now?
Sure. As Onyeka is not here, I'm gonna borrow Onyeka's summary. If you find yourself with some time after work or on a weekend or on a Saturday morning or evening, and you need something to put in the background when you're doing your chores, or maybe perhaps you are bored and you're looking for something to watch, put it on. Give it 30 minutes. 30 minutes in, you don't like it, you turn it off. If you can continue watching it. I'm not going to tell you what to watch or not to watch. Is that not how Oyuko says it? Anywho, the decision is yours, is what I'm trying to say. I didn't hate this, but I didn't like it very much either. There were very few redeeming things about this, which is very frustrating because I can see the potential to be a film that I actually would like. And I wish it lived up to that potential, but it didn't. So yeah, again, the choice is yours. 30 minutes in, I don't think the film has started yet. And I think that's part of my problem with it. I was 48 minutes into this and I was wondering, when is this film going to start? So perhaps I should say, give yourself 45 minutes watching this film. If you like it past 45 minutes, then carry on. If you don't, be done with it, really.
Okay. Thanks, Vanessa. And your Vanessa impression was all right. Could have
My
done.
Onyeka impression was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, your impression was all right. You just needed to stutter more and go in a couple more directions, and then come back. But you tried.
You really want Onyeka to get you next week?
We'll see. Mrs. C.
So yeah, I did not dislike this. I'm not sure how much I liked it either, but it was one of the least offensive things we've seen this year. It's the kind of thing I can recommend to my parents, but I'd have to give them the caveat of the club and stripper scene, which again, jarring. But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like this really had potential to be just a wholesome family watch.
Yeah, I'm going to echo Vanessa and Mrs. C. It wasn't the worst thing I've seen. It's inoffensive in a lot of places, and it has a few bright spots here and there. Yeah, but it wasn't for me at the end, just because of how much of Senior Zubi's character is in the movie. But yeah. Anyway, want to give the last word or last opportunity for Uche if she wants to say anything. If not, we can call it a day. But thanks to Uche for coming on. It's not often filmmakers come on and not just cuss us out, but partake in the actual discussion. So thank you for coming on.
Hi. Actually, I have never been to one of these, but I kind of like it. Not just for the critics, just because as an industry, I think something like this is needed. You take it with a pinch of salt. You know that any work of art is subject to criticism, and you take the ones you can take, the good ones. And I just want to say to everyone that had one or two things to say, thank you. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that's exactly the spirit of Nollywood Film Club. We all come here. Sometimes we fight in the pushover section because we disagree with ourselves a lot. So you take what you feel is relevant for you, and you can throw away the rest. I don't know if you met the good section. Maybe there's some things that could be revisited in there that you might like. So please do revisit that. Anyway, but thanks everybody who joined. Thanks again for another great conversation. Can't wait to see. Oh no. Next week is Babs. Next week is Babs Netflix film. All right.
It's House of Gar. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Next week is House of Gar. House of Gar. And Babs Epic. All right. So anyway, it could be fun. Who knows? I haven't liked her last 4 films, but this might be 5th time lucky.
Hey, there's no Nigerian police in it. Might be an improvement.
Right. Okay. Anyway, thanks guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed listening and would like to join live, just follow us on Twitter at Iroko Critic and join us every Sunday 6 p.m. West African time on our spaces.